Hello and welcome to this week's show, proudly sponsored by Slick Moto Events, Britain's fastest growing premium European track day company. Check out their upcoming events at www.slickmotoevents.co.uk or just click the link in the description. Search them out on social media as well, just search for Slick Moto Events on Instagram and Facebook. This week's show is an absolute peach with an amazing fella. We were fortunate enough to get an hour with him at MotoGP down at Silverstone a couple of weeks ago, and he doesn't really need much of an introduction. You can see him in the background there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Hervé Poncharal.
Well, nice.
I wanted to show that because we...
No, that touched my heart, because... but 1988, quite a few years, huh?
Time passes, doesn't it?
Yeah, how old are you?
I'm 51.
I'm 67.
Are you still here, Herve?
Yeah.
You're still here.
Yeah.
You like the...
And still enjoying it.
That's the important thing.
Oh, yeah. But you don't know me, but I wouldn't do it if I wouldn't enjoy it. And the day I'm not going to enjoy it anymore, I would be leaving.
What are your happiest memories? There must be so many.
It's difficult to say. We started the podcast?
We just go straight into it. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, Hervé Poncharal.
Hello, everyone. My happiest memory? Wow. It's a difficult question because it's almost half a century I've been around, and maybe I would say my first ever Grand Prix victory.
Yes.
And that was with Dominique Saron. I think that was back in 1986. And if I remember well, I think that was in Brazil, in Goiânia. And, when you start as a fan, you follow the races, and then you just look at the Grand Prix paddock and you want to be part of this world. Doing anything, dishwasher, truck driver, but you want to be part of this. Then once you manage to find a job inside the paddock, then you want to be involved in a team. Okay, make it short. And then finally, I became team manager. But then what you want is to win. And then once you part of the MotoGP paddock, running a team, and that team is winning, especially the first ever victory, is something you will never forget. It's like the first ever kiss you give to a girl, or it's something that makes your life, tasty, and things that you never forget. So, and the good thing is, it is so sweet that you want more. But the fact that you don't have so many makes it even sweeter.
It's a difficult situation when it starts, isn't it? When you start winning.
Yeah, and
because
I remember one day we were already in MotoGP class with Yamaha, and I was with an evening. I was the same hospitality as Jerry Burgess, who was Valentino crew chief, and they were winning every single weekend. Win after win after win, and at that moment we never had a MotoGP win. And I was with him and I said, Jeremy, never get blasé of winning. Even though it is coming every single weekend, you cannot believe what it means for people who never did it, who never had the chance to do it. And I have to say that he looked at me, because for him it was like normal business, Yeah. And he was just having a beer with, in the hospitality, chatting like, okay, we've won, what point? But for me, if I win a race, and this is another very sweet moment of my life, was when we had our first ever victory in MotoGP class. That was in Austria with Miguel Oliveira, 2020. Our second season with KTM. We've done 20 consecutive with Yamaha without winning a single race. And this is what I told the journalists, I told them, although this is Red Bull, but I said, they say, what do you feel? I said, this victory gave me wings. I just feel I can fly. I just feel so light. I want to walk on the clouds, And this is what I was trying to explain to Jerry Burgess, because, anyway, this is just to tell you how sweet, how important, and how vital a victory in Grand Prix racing is for us and for the team, and especially for me.
Especially for you, who has such an intrinsic part of MotoGP for the last 30 years more. But I spoke to a gentleman that you'll remember a couple of weeks ago, a gentleman called Jamie Robinson.
Oh yeah, I know him well.
I spoke to Jamie.
I think he's living in USA now.
He is, yeah, he's in California, yeah. So I spoke with Jamie for the show a couple of weeks ago when he was over for the Isle of Man TT. And he said something that resonated quite well with me, because I've never raced. I do this. Exactly what you said. You're a fan, you work in the paddock, you want to do something. So I've worked at British Superbike level, press officer, British champion, but now we do the podcast, and we're here this weekend as accredited media, which is a huge step for us. And Jamie said something that really resonated with me. And it excuse my language, I'll change it.
No, don't worry, go for it.
Is it once you win, you're fucked?
Yes. Because you put the finger, and you get addicted. But in life, what makes life beautiful is when you have a passion. But to have a passion is addicting.
Of course.
And okay, you got bad addiction, but an addiction is always difficult to handle anyway. It doesn't matter which addiction it is, because once you touch, once you taste, you're obsessed by having another one. And having more. But this is also what drives you and what makes our life, your life, my life, different than I don't want to say we are not normal, but a more normal lifestyle. When you have your job from Monday to Friday, you have every single weekend where you can do whatever you want. So we decided to have a more rock and roll life, a more artist life, which gives you feelings that you will never meet when you have a more normal life. But feelings good, but also sometimes difficult.
Of course.
And our life is more up and down than a normal life. But what I always say, if you don't have low point, you don't enjoy the high points, we like it. And I like the rock and roll expression, because this is exactly what it is, And so anyway, I fully agree with you. And it is important to dream and to have dreams and to try to make your dreams becoming reality. Not too much, because you need to keep dreams. It's like Stairway to Heaven.
Yes.
I like that, because once you reach heaven, if ever you reach heaven, even if it's beautiful, you say, I reached it. But there is nothing above.
What's next?
Exactly. So you need to be climbing the stairs always and never touch heaven. Keep on dreaming.
It's absolutely right.
But each single level, you enjoy.
Always.
But you need to think, next floor, there is something more.
It's exactly why we're sat here now, Hervé. It's exactly why we're sat here now. The way the podcast has grown, the listeners and the viewers know how we do what we do. I'm not famous. I've never raced. We built this from ground level. And it's a real privilege and a pleasure for you to join us. So thank you for joining us.
No, don't thank me, because I like to meet persons like you,
Thank you.
Who have passion, who have a heart beating fast, and sharing emotions. This is what life is about, I don't like flat.
No, you have to, peaks and troughs, isn't it? You take the good days, you take the difficult days, but this is why we do what we do. And it doesn't matter if you are the president of Herve, whether you're a team owner, whether you're a podcast host.
We are human beings. And
completely.
I hate to think I'm important. I'm somebody who is doing what he loves. I have had the luck. Life gave me some kind of luck to move forward, but I'm a normal person. And I will always be accessible. For me, one of the key thing in life is humility. I like to be humble. Yesterday was the Two Wheel for Life.
Yes.
Open paddock. And I love it because you meet so many people that come once a year, but each single person you meet is absolutely fantastic and makes your heart beat. And you just want to hug all of them because they are so happy.
Yes.
And they transmit their passion with you. They're asking you questions that, wow, almost make you cry, And I don't like the people who walk without stopping, when somebody is calling you to ask you for a selfie, to ask you for a signature, or to share a souvenir, or to show you something, or to talk to you about, stop, talk, exchange. And this is why also I've always told Carmelo Esteleta, who is the Dorna CEO, Dorna is the promoter of the championship. This is also what we've talked to the Liberty Media, who is the new owner of our championship. We want to keep our paddock as it is. We want to give the possibility to have, fans coming in the paddock. We want to have the possibility to interact with them. Some people were laughing when we did the sprint race, but I said we need to give more to the fan, and the fan don't come for an untimed session. They come for racing. To have another race is something that is going to be more difficult to handle for the riders and the team and the technicians, but it's going to be added value for the spectators or the TV viewers. Also, some people were laughing when we decided to have what we call I don't know how you call it, the thing where all the riders are going in, the trailer.
Or the rider parade.
The rider parade, yeah.
Yeah.
They go inside and some people say, they look like cows, But I mean, this shocked me because we did this to allow the spectators all around the circuit to see the riders. This vehicle is stopping at each grandstand, and the local riders are shooting with t-shirt, cap, and everything to the crowd, waving. And through the lap, there is always one journalist who is interviewing each single rider.
Nice.
They're talking about the GP. This is on Sunday morning. This is why we shortened the warm-up and we cancel Moto2, Moto3 warm-up. And this is what we want to do. Have more interaction, have more respect for the public, for the fans, and give them more. But give them more is not you stand the grandstand, we stand the paddock, and there is a border in between the two, a wall.
Very difficult. It's divisive.
I have been a big fan of The Wall from Pink Floyd when the wall broke down in Berlin 1989. So I hated the wall always, and we are not going to build any other wall.
Breaking down barriers, Hervé.
Yes, we should.
I think we should.
But when you see, okay, we are not going to talk about politics, but when you see where the world is going, we talk more about building new walls that we already destroyed than be more breaking barriers. But anyway, this is another subject, and I'm not going to talk about that.
But I agree with you. I can see where you would go with it. We're very similar.
I have spent 2 years in London, 1977, 1978. These 2 years were two great years for me, and they will be in my heart forever. I learned a lot about music. I was going to concerts as much as I could. I was going to see motorcycle races as much as I could. And England is part of Europe for me. And sometimes I'm a little bit sad to see what's happening, what's going on. Point.
Absolutely. One thing you touched on it a few times while we've been talking. Is music your other passion away from racing?
When I was very young, when you are young, you want to be somebody. I mean, I wanted. And my heroes, motorcycle, Barry Sheen.
Yeah.
Number one.
Mine too.
Playboy, a lot of girls around him. Super, always, anyway, rock star. And of course, all the big, rock band that England has been producing. I'm not going to cite them all because, but then I was a young teenager, and I wanted to say, I want to be a rock star, but I also want to be a motorcycle rider, a Grand Prix rider. And at that time, these two worlds were very close to each other. Because Barry was really rock and roll. Barry was a bit like a Mick Jagger or John Lennon or, at that time. Or Roger Daltrey, or these were the bands at my age, and you were seeing a lot of rock star on a motorcycle. You were seeing them together, and I tried to play music, and I was very bad. And I said, maybe it's easier to ride a bike fast. When I tried, and I was better. But these two worlds always attracted me, because for me, okay, Barry Sheen was the top hero when I was young. But the other one, I'm sure maybe you remember him, but it was Peter Gabriel.
Yes.
Because when I was young, the progressive music was coming, and for me, it was the big thing when I was 19, 20. And Genesis.
Absolutely.
There was, Genesis, King Crimson, all these bands. But wow, that was something, And that guy, when you remember Foxtrot, when he shaved his head there, the flower, wow, for me, he was a legend. Like Barry was a legend also. So these two worlds always attracted me a lot, and it makes me dream, makes me fly.
Is it those influences that's helped you develop the team and develop you as a person as well, to be the artist and to have those feelings of freedom almost to do what you want to do?
It's funny what you tell me, because I was with Ryan Vickett.
Yes, I know Ryan well.
And Roger Burnett a few hours ago. And I was telling them, I said, listen, guys, because we are talking about business, about private life. And I said, for me, the value that I would put on top of everything is freedom. Oh. If you're free, everything is possible. And for me, we know we are lucky enough to be born in Europe, which is countries that gives you the freedom of moving, freedom of talking, freedom of learning, freedom of saying no, freedom of everything. And this is so important for me. And this is why I never wanted to be an employee, because I was working for Honda France. And that picture you showed me in 1998, I was running the Grand Prix team for Honda France. So I was the manager, but I was employed.
Yes.
And after that year, I stopped. I resigned from Honda France. Many people tell you, why you do this? You are crazy. Because I wanted to be free. And when you work for a company, you have the sales department, the marketing department, the technical department. You should do this, you should do it like this. And I said, maybe I'm going to do a lot of mistakes, but I want to be doing things the way I think it should be done. And I did many mistakes, of course, but this is how you learn life, When you bang into a wall, you say, oof, it's painful. Don't do that again.
What was the biggest lesson you learned in the early days starting the team?
That although you need to be rock and roll, you need not to be too rock and roll, because if you want to have a factory supporting you, if you want to have sponsors supporting you, and if you want to have riders and technicians on a certain level, you need to establish yourself as a kind of a serious organization.
Yes.
And if you are too rock and roll, nobody's going to come, So it's, life is a balance. And for me, the truth is always in the middle, in everything.
No question.
That was and I remember also when I was working for Honda France before I did Tech3, my boss, who was older than me, of course, because I was racing before. I was racing with Dominique Saron, and once I started to be on the management side, I was still a bit, I could have been a top rider. I wanted to ride again. And one day, we were racing in Le Mans, and there was a test on Monday. And I asked my boss at that time, could I test the bike on Monday? Because I was so keen to ride again, And he said to me, hey, Hervé, you join the management. You can be on both sides. You either on one side of the wall, the pit wall, or on the other side. And for me, it was a shock. I said, wow, that guy has no passion. That guy, And I was a bit upset with him, because I said, wow, he's rude. But maybe that was the best lesson he ever gave me, You need to understand what you're here for. You need to understand what is your job. And from that moment, I understood that I was not going to be a rider anymore. And I was, ready to do the management side. But forget about jumping on a bike and be a rider, trying to be as close as possible to the official rider, or in my dreams also, of course. So that was a big lesson, and maybe a very important step.
And something you've carried on for all the years that you've run the team, that you've run Tech3, for all the riders that you've had, trying to instill that into them. And you said about being respectful to people. If someone wants an autograph, you're going to make their day.
Yes.
For you, it's a signature. For them, it's a life moment.
Absolutely. And I understand that. And I think this is the minimum we owe them, But, when we started, we worked with Japanese manufacturers because they were the only ones and the dominant ones. And the good thing, I think in life, you need to have complementarity.
Yes.
And the Japanese, especially in the 80s, they were very shy. They were very square, no fun, efficiency. And but you can't succeed with that. You need to have, especially when you're racing, a bit of madness, a bit of a vision, a bit of things that they didn't have. But we needed them for technology, for development. And I think when we met, the first time I went to Japan was 1982, a long time ago. And at that time, Japan was like Planet Mars. Life on Mars, David Bowie, another superhero for me. And we had a lot of fun to exchange because their English was so basic. But I always remember when we flew back, we spent almost a month in Japan there, together with Guy Coulon.
Yes.
And my boss, Mr. Guillou, the one I was talking to you about a few minutes ago, received, at that time, we were only exchanging through fax. This was the only way to... And he showed me the facts, and I was, okay, my heart beat it, because for me, it was such a privilege to go to Japan, because it was a country of motorcycle. It was, the rising sun country, it was, wow, and when I was there, I was trying to see if I was awake or dreaming, because I'm in Japan, in the Honda racing department. Is it true? Am I awake, or is it a dream? Many, many times I was saying this during the day, because I couldn't believe, because some years ago I would have been an impossible dream. And so when we flew back, my boss showed me the fax he received from Japan, saying how happy they were to have received us, to have met us, that we were great people. It's not to make me feel, big, but they were really happy with the relationship we installed. And since then, I worked for something like 10, 15 years with Honda, 2 years with Suzuki, 20 years with Yamaha. And I've always really enjoyed working with the Japanese, because they need us and we need them.
Of course.
And that was a win-win situation that I really, really enjoyed.
How did the relationship come about to move to the different manufacturers? We know you're with the GasGas factory team now in the KTM family, but you've moved with the manufacturers over time, but the loyalty to Yamaha was huge.
20 consecutive years.
Is it an incredible relationship in MotoGP?
I like long-term partnership. And I think success is also coming from continuity. And I was happy with Yamaha. But at some stage, you always dream bigger. And until 2017-18, the factories and the dominant factories were the Japanese factories. They were always seeing the support they were giving to a satellite operation like a support we give to the championship. We do it for Dorna. We do it because we have to fill the grid. But we don't have a real interest in terms of strategy, in terms of technical feedback. This is why we had a 1 or 2 years old machine. We never got the same development. And I'm not complaining, but that was the status of a satellite operation. Basically, they were helping the championship to have enough riders on the grid.
Yes.
My supporting. And that was pissing me off, to be completely honest, because I always try to tell them, don't tell me you lose money because I know the figures. with what Dorna is giving you, with what we are paying as a lease fee, don't tell me you lose money, because this is not possible. You should use us, our riders' feedback, combined with your riders, to speed up the development. Because when you have 4, datas, it is twice more than 2.
Indeed.
And then it can help you to speed up the development. But to do that, you need to have the same equipment. Because if the data from the satellite team is from a bike which is 2 years old, you can't really use it. Therefore, I was telling them, give us the same year bike. Use our data. Use our rider.
Absolutely.
Invite them to technical debrief. No. Focus on the work. Therefore, having banged into the wall a few times, because it was no, this is what it is. I had other dreams for satellite operation that I was sharing with Carmelo and with my independent team manager colleague, and I really wanted to tell them, marketing wise, you can use us a lot, and this is going to be big benefit for your brand. Technically, use our data. Let's choose the rider together if you want, for you to be sure that this is the type of rider you would like to have. Give us the same bike, in order to have emulation inside the group. But that was not, at that moment, something they were believing in. And therefore, also, all my life I've been working with Japanese company. And for me, that was fantastic, because I learned so much from Japan, and I love Japan, and I love the Japanese people, and I respect them so much. And without them, I would never be where I am. So full respect, full thank you, full everything. But I said, it would be interesting to work with the European manufacturers to see the difference. Cool. Because in Japan, there are strong and weak points. In Europe, sometimes our strong points are the weak point of Japan, and our weak points are the strong point of Japan. So this is a bit different. And I said, I'd like to try. And then I was looking at this KTM started, because they started in 2017. Everybody was laughing at them, say, they will never make it with their suspension, with their chassis. They need to do this and this and this. But I could see these guys, it was rock and roll, because they were, we say a flower on the rifle. I don't know if you say that in English, but I mean, they were with no fear. And they were happy, they were working so hard, and I could see like this group really strong, like a family-oriented organization. And I said, why not? And everybody told me, can you leave Yamaha, who is winning for a manufacturer that is mainly an off-road manufacturer and who has no experience of road racing, especially in MotoGP class? You are crazy, you are stupid, you gotta destroy your company. But the more you tell me don't do it, the more you push me to do it. And I said, okay, ciao, I'm going to do it. And a lot of people told me again, you have the Mr. I know everything, and you have so many. Okay, you went there for the money. What you talking about? I never got any money from them. Okay, you go there for this and this. I just went there because I could see something fresh, something, and I said, follow your heart, follow your feeling, follow your guts, or I don't know what you say.
Yeah.
And normally you don't do that when you run a company. But what I like in my company is also all my guys are always following me. So when I switch from Honda to Yamaha, same. They say, you cannot leave Honda for Yamaha because then we won the championship. Then we had 2 years with Suzuki that was fantastic. So one day I told them I've signed with KTM, and they said, "Oh yes," but nobody told me you are crazy. The people who do everything told me I'm crazy, and that was very exciting, because for sure the bike was not as competitive as the bike we used the year before, which was a Yamaha, but everything was possible. It's like the Pioneer. When they left the old Europe for America or for Australia. Wow, I would have loved to be part of this. Go west, young man.
It's exactly right.
And okay, I went east because Austria is east. But I love Western.
Yes.
And okay, I'm too old. I would have loved to be born and go west. Because this was adventure. Everything was possible, And okay, so it was a bit like that, To be where I was, it was like the old Europe. But to go to there was, it's everything has to be built. So build it the way you want. And I met some really crazy people. But by crazy is positive for me.
Yes, of course. No, this is what I understand.
Crazy like me, and we had no fear. We had no fear. And if you believe in your dreams, sometimes your dreams can become reality. And then a year and a half later, we won our first race. And for me, it was like, wow. There is a sentence I like. There is a fine line in between being a hero or being a zero. And a lot of people told me, you are very stupid when we moved. And a lot of people, when we were first race, you are so clever, you knew it. No, I didn't know anything. I was not stupid before. I was not more a Superman afterwards. It's just that, I follow my instinct, and life gave me this beautiful, victory and relationship. And this is also what I like, because I like people who have passion. And honestly, the Red Bull guys, the KTM guys, which is now Pure Mobility, including GasGas brand, they are dreaming big. They are dreaming big. And our societies in 2024, not too many people dream big.
No.
Okay.
It's this now. It goes here.
It was a bit, it looks old-fashioned now, but I remember the Power of Flower, Make Love Not War, all these things where people were dreaming big. Let's build a new society, get rid of everything. Okay, you do that when you're a teenager, when you're in your 20s. I remember Woodstock. I loved all these things. But then when you're aging, you understand that not everything is possible.
No.
And then what was done before was not completely stupid. But it's good to have this kind of, I want to dream big, if you can.
Well, sharing that with the KTM brand, they wouldn't be doing what they do if they didn't dream big in the first place. They go, let's go MotoGP racing. For me, I like to admire. So I told you David Bowie, Barry Sheen, Peter Gabriel. Okay, these people, I admire them forever. But I also like entrepreneurs. And for me, Steve Jobs is a hero, because he was in his garage playing with it. And then now Apple is and there was a vision at the start. And there was no means, nothing. There was a vision, And these people make me dream also. So when you see Red Bull, Mr. Mateschitz, who passed away 2 years ago, he was working. He was selling, I think, fridges or things like that in Southeast Asia, mainly Thailand. And he was going there, and the drivers of his taxi was always driving without sleeping at night. Say, how come you? And he was there was already a Red Bull, and he said, "This is it." To make it short, but very simple, he met the family that was producing this. He passed them his vision. He had an incredible vision. He started with a very thin can. He had no money to advertise, to make some normal publicity. Then he said, I'm going to give a hand to crazy events, and this is how it started. And now this is the number one energy drink in the world. Wow, chapeau. Then KTM, that company was bankrupt. And there was a young guy that was called Stefan Pirer. And his job was to acquire companies that were bankrupt, try to put them back, floating, and sell them with a profit. And this is what he did with KTM, but he fell in love with that. And he stopped to do that job. And once it was back floating, he kept it to make it grow. He was the one who decided to have the orange car, because Kawasaki was green, Suzuki was yellow, every brand was having a color. And he's a visionary also. And to work with Red Bull with this, DNA, and KTM with this DNA, and to meet these people, to share with these people, they invite you for dinner, and they have my age. Then you share, and you see that these people dream big and reach big. But not big for the money, for this, They've been having dreams, and they managed to fulfill their dream and make their dream a reality. So
I'm feeling really good inside this organization. Although, you need to be rational, you need to be competitive. The competition is incredible now in between the 5 MotoGP manufacturers. You fight for 1,000 of a second, which is nothing. So you need to be serious, you need to be organized, you need sometimes to have endless meetings, which are not so rock and roll. But the base of having this manufacturer saying, I want to go MotoGP is rock and roll.
No question. And that's the dream, isn't it? For any team that starts, any rider that starts, their aim is, I'm going to be a MotoGP rider. Until you tell me different or I don't make the grade, this is what I want to do. We set out with the podcast. We're here at MotoGP. This is where the work begins. Maybe we'll get a chance again. Maybe we won't. We don't know.
I'm very proud to be part of it.
Thank you,
and to be helping you to grow.
Thank you. No, I really appreciate it. It's a privilege to sit with you. What do you dream about now? At 67 years old and many years in the paddock?
I dream not to age too quickly. I dream to... What I like is I'm still dreaming of many things, And when you are a competitor forever. And doesn't matter, okay, I'm not as strong as I was when I was young. I don't know if I was good looking, but I'm not as good looking as before. I'm not, but
Sure.
When I have a white night, I'm destroyed. When I was not destroyed, jet lag is hurting me when I'm traveling. So for sure you're aging.
Yes.
But I still feel good. I still enjoy what I do. And I forgot the question.
What do you dream of?
I dream of, my close dream at the moment is I would like Pedro to win a MotoGP race before he finished this season, which would be during your rookie season. I dream of next year, Maverick and Enea. This is on paper a dream team, but sometimes dream team on paper doesn't work. So I'm going to make everything I can to make them happy, to give what Maverick needs and what Enea needs to make them perform. I dream to give all my guys, which are something like 60 people, a life that they enjoy. And I dream to, maybe this is maybe the number one dream, to pass my value inside the paddock more and more, And... like humility, like respect, but respect for everything, and understand that the world is changing. We cannot think like we were thinking in the 1980s, because we know now, and although a lot of people will not like what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it because this is deep inside my heart. Our planet, we thought it was immense. 40 years ago, we would never think human activities would impact, for example, the climate. 10 years ago or 15 years ago, people were telling you, hey, you're a dreamer. I mean, you are full of shit, sorry to say. Now this is a fact. So I would like to be able to carry on my passion, which is motorcycle racing, in a way where we are more environmental friendly,
yes.
I can say eco-friendly.
Eco-friendly.
And this is not impossible, But I like to respect the fan, respect the nature, respect our planet, and respect the future generation. Give them the possibility to have as many possibilities that we had 40 years ago. Not making the possibilities shrinking. And having said that, I'm still as fascinated by, a MotoGP race. When I see a race where 4, 5, 6 riders are fighting in front and until the very last lap, until the very last corner, for me, this is still a fantastic show. And the emotion is honestly almost the same than day one. And until this is going away, I will try to stay here and to enjoy myself.
This is why we do what we do. The love of racing.
Absolutely.
And when the racing can be the best that it can be, there is nothing better.
I don't like to, I'm not here to promote MotoGP in a way. I am.
Of course.
But, I'm not somebody who is paid to promote MotoGP. But So it's easy to say best show on two wheels in the world, but for sure this show is unbelievable. Our athletes, our riders are unbelievable athletes. When you see, okay, he's on screen now, when you see Jorge Martin touching the knee, the elbow, the shoulder, sometimes almost the helmet. Wow. These kind of pictures, especially in slow motion, there are not so many things on earth that can give you the same,
It is
emotion.
The emotion is right. It's whether it's leaving the black lines through the curve, controlling the slide, whichever. It's to as you mentioned earlier, to bring in the precocious talent that is Pedro into MotoGP. I would suggest that it's right that also gives you the passion for the sport to see the younger riders and to help nurture them, but give them some of your wisdom to help them go for it, because they won't stay forever.
Absolutely. And this is what I like most. For example, this year, what we are going through, what we are living with Pedro is what I like most in the life, if tomorrow you tell me Bagnaia is coming to your team, what? Okay, the world champion is coming, the best rider on earth is coming, but it's going to be different because he's already world champion. He knows a lot of things. And then he just expect you to give him the best bike, the best technician. And then but when you take a rookie, which is coming from Moto2, when you are in day one, like we were in Valencia last year, where the first time he sat on the bike and he rides that MotoGP bike and he does a few laps and stop in the box. I always love that moment when he take off the helmet, the big smile, and they say, wow, power of the brakes, power of the bike, all this electronic. I love that moment. And I like to be the junior team. Okay, next year we won't be for many reasons because Maverick and Enea are not junior anymore.
Nope.
So it's exciting. It's another challenge. But for sure, what we're going through this year with Pedro is fantastic emotion, and I'm so happy, to see him learning together.
As you move through the Moto3, Moto2, MotoGP classes, there's such a big step between each class. How do you mold the rider? How do you keep them grounded and keep them focused? And I was looking for to keep them. I forgot what the word is. What did I say? Manage. That's what it is. How do you help them manage their expectation? Because they want to win. Pedro wants to win straight away. He wants to be on the podium straight away. Sometimes it's not possible.
Okay, I'm not going to answer exactly the question, but I'm going to answer it still. In our activity, let's call it like that, we talk a lot, and this is normal, about technology, about the bike's level, about the package, technical package performance. And we focus a lot, there is a new wing, the electronic has we have a new fork, or the chassis is a bit different, For sure, this is important. But what I would like to emphasize and say, and this is what I love this sport, is the man is by far the key part. Remember, okay, we don't want to go too back on time, but Valentino, when he was on Yamaha, there were 4 riders. He was the only one winning with Yamaha, and he was winning every race, and he was the only one winning. Who was winning? Yamaha or Valentino? Question unanswered. Let the people think about it. Then you had the Marc Marquez era. He was the only one winning. He was winning every Sunday, but he was almost the only one winning on Honda. Who was winning Honda? Marc Marquez. So we had Pedro Acosta jumping on the Hero Mobility bike, which is a GasGas KTM bike. And after 3-4 races, although he was a full rookie, he was the leader of the group. So sometimes you wonder, because you think, okay, year one, a rookie should only learn. Forget about the result. If he does a few top 10, it is already good enough. But this theory is destroyed by what Pedro Acosta is doing, or what Marc Marquez was doing year one, or what Valentino was doing also. So it is difficult to have a strategy of how to educate a rider, because each human being is one. A rider is a human being, so each rider is different. You never can And this is what I like also. You always have to adapt. This is Darwin, you have to adapt to the person you're working with. Because you can have a dream season with a rookie where you did everything perfect and he enjoyed it. That won't work with somebody else. It's the same. Okay, let's go back to Yamaha Valentino Rossi winning days. If it would be that easy, we could say, okay, this is the setting Valentino is using and he's doing that lap time. So if we give the other 3 Yamaha guys the same setting, they're going to do that lap time. But sometimes by giving them the Valentino setting, which was the best, they were slower than with their own setting. So in normal life, 1 + 1 is 2. Yes. And if somebody is telling you 1 + 1 is 3, you say, hey, go back to school or go to the psychiatric hospital. But in racing, 1 + 1 is not 2. Because you never can tell. You have to adapt to the situation, to the person you're talking to. Also, you have to understand that a rider is a human being, as I said, is a person, and there are so many emotions. And there are some people who can cover their emotion better than others. There are some people who have a great emotion, but they never show, they never share. There are some people who share emotion with you. And there are some riders who like to share and to ask you for help. There are some riders who are like an oyster, completely closed. So the way, doesn't matter how many years you've been in this business, and this is what I like, you're almost a psychologist. You need to sit down in normal thing, share breakfast, share dinner, share an evening, understand the personality more and more to be able to open the lock and help the rider the way he needs to be helped. But sometimes you have to investigate because they don't give you the key.
You've seen the paddock change over so many years.
Yes.
And the paddock, the atmosphere of the paddock and the riders and how they are over a weekend, going from having barbecues and parties, and now it's gone from a really open book to a really closed book. Have the riders changed dramatically over that time? Yeah.
But there was no podcast 40 years ago.
It's true.
There was no internet 40 years ago or 50 years ago. There was no cell phone 50 years ago. So sometimes, I am not fighting, but I like the exchange with the people. And there are some journalists who are my friends, who have my age. They say, it was better before, the paddock was better before, we had barbecues, we could park our car everywhere, we could be bare chest on the grid, we could smoke on the grid. Okay. But that was 1978. And the world was different. So at that time, for example, I'm talking about the media just...
Of course.
You, journalist, you were complaining because there was no media center. Then once we started to have a room called a media center, you wanted to have more television, more monitor to follow the race. And you were complaining when there was not enough. Then you wanted to have free drinks. Then you wanted to have a bit of free food. Then you wanted to have enough toilets in the thing. Then you wanted to have air conditioning because it was too hot. Then you wanted to have internet access available for all of you. So you want to work following what the world is producing and the world lifestyle, you know what I mean? But you want the paddock, the riders and the team to still live like in the 1980s. No way, it's impossible. No. Because for sure, with the evolution, we didn't have tire warmer in 1970s.
Nope.
Now we have. We didn't have any electronic. Now we have a lot. So we need much more electricity. We more energy. There were many things that we didn't need and now we need. Of course, to have an open paddock like it was before was fun. Sometimes. Because sometimes you had a lot of things stolen. I remember we had some leather stolen from the rider and we couldn't almost race. We had to find another leather in Yugoslavia at that time. It was not always easy. The old paddock, there was maybe one water point for 5 teams. We were fighting to have water, honestly. We didn't have any pit, so we had to have a tent. When it was raining, you can imagine. So there were not enough toilets. So we liked it. I talked about Woodstock. Woodstock was like that. It was in the field.
Yes, of course.
But Woodstock was in 1970 something. So for sure, we cannot be completely disconnected to the world we are living in. And we are in 2024. And everything is different than in 1977, for example, or 78. And every single human being, for me, I believe, is nostalgic of his 20th. Because when you are 20 years old, you are strong, as I said before, healthy, good looking. You think you're invincible. You think you are forever. You don't think of there is an end. Because so you just full throttle. And when you reach our age, even if I'm a bit older than you, we have more wisdom. We know there is an end. We know we are not invincible. We know, and we still want to dream big, as I told you. But, you cannot help yourself not being nostalgic, because you want to go back. You want to have that feeling that everything is possible, that you're here forever, that you are going to do things that nobody's done before. And even if I still want to dream big, the older you get, your dreams are shrinking a bit, because you know that there are things that are impossible. But when you are 20, everything is possible. So I understand the people who say it was better before.
Of course.
But
music, anything, the whole world is music.
For me, the music was better before that. I agree. But if I talk to my daughter and I ask her to listen to what I was listening, she said, "Papa, it's crap." So, but I'm not going to tell her she has no taste.
No.
Because she's, who are you to say that? So this is like that.
But our music had lyrics.
But for me, for sure, yes. But I don't want to enter in that subject. But for sure, I liked the barbecue times, the thing that, at 6 o'clock, everybody was back close in the box or in the tent, and just share, have a beer, talk, listen music, and the rest. But this is different. Now, also, there is something that I would like to say is, some people are saying, for example, MotoGP is following a direction which is not the one it should, because we lose our soul, something like that.
Okay.
And I understand what they say, because I really enjoyed the 1980s paddock atmosphere. I can tell you, I have a lot of good memories. But now we are competing. Look at the Olympic Games. Look at the Tour de France. Look at any rugby or football tournament. So if we love our sport, and if our aficionados, our fans, love the sport, we compete with the other sport. So we're very happy to, because when I was in the 80s, there was no TV, no motorcycle racing on TV. No. That was a dream, because we said, wow, this show is fantastic. Let's show it to more people. And the best means is TV.
No question.
Show it to the whole world. Then we push for that. But it means we are in competition with other sports. And nature doesn't like emptiness. So we always push to be ahead of the others. And if we stand still, like we were before, we disappear. We just disappear, because there will be, the promoter of the tennis, of the rugby, of the football, of the ski, of the swimming, of the horse riding, of the any sport, that would say we are better than them. Look, you cannot have that. So maybe we lost a bit of our soul, but the thing we always have in mind is keep motorcycle racing, keep MotoGP exciting, keep MotoGP competitive against other sports, in order to have fans who come, in order to have fans that can follow the 22 weekend on TV, because they come once or twice a year. You cannot ask fans to follow physically the whole. No. So this is also important, and to be able to compete with other sports, we need to evolve. I don't know if it's a positive or negative evolution, but we need to be in line with the world we're living in. And I'm not telling you I love the 2024 world, but I'm not, I cannot change it myself. So yes, the paddock was different. Was it better or not? I don't know, but it was in line with that time. And now we are in line with 2024.
The way we do our podcast, we talk to the old guys a lot, because they have the best stories. We had Roger Burnett on.
I don't want to tell you too many stories. I'm not allowed.
There are some that haven't made it onto the show, but we spoke to Roger Marshall and we've spoken to Ron Haslam, who I know you know very well.
I know all these persons very well.
Phil Mayhew was the son of Chris Mayhew, you know incredibly well. He asked me to remind you, you may not remember, but there may have been some kind of diving competition between you and Ron Haslam going back some years.
Diving competition?
Diving.
Can't remember that one.
No.
With Ron.
No, this is it. Phil maybe said it was maybe a little bit.
No, this is not, I don't want to say, but I don't remember that one with Ron. There is one diving. I mean, it was not proper diving, but there was one crazy story about diving that I can tell you is we were in Malaysia. We were racing in Sharjah. That was in the 90s. And we always had stupid games at that time, the challenge. And we went to the place where you put only the feet, before you go to the normal pool. And we said, I bet you cannot, dive into this. Or it was very shallow. The first one, we said, I'm going to show you. It was me. I dived into it. And then I broke my nose. And I came out of the water. I heard a big crack on the water. Came out, and all my friends were looking, and the nose is bleeding a lot. And I was full of blood. And, and of course, the guy that was doing the safety by the pool, it's not Red Cross, it's Red Croissant, because this is and he opened this Red Croissant with a lot of cotton and put my face. But anyway, this is something related to diving. But yeah, we were very, very stupid at that time. I don't know the story with Ron about the diving, but I have so many stories that I could tell you, but I don't think people want to know because it was, when you are into this world and you are 20 and especially at that time where everything was possible, you are too much. And,
I think
we enjoyed.
That's the main thing. It's enjoying, isn't it? We're only here once, so you have to make the very best. But so we get further than some of the great people we've had in the paddock, and we get chance to have extra birthdays that they didn't have.
Yes, exactly.
And that is super important. It's something Jennifer taught me many years ago. That birthdays shouldn't be trivial because
I agree.
We get more than others.
Absolutely.
So you have to enjoy each moment.
For me, I always, again, as I said, I'm not a saint, but I always try to enjoy the best I could, but always by respecting the people.
Yes.
And by, again, humility, respect. Do whatever you want, but please, respect.
One last way to speak. I know you're busy and I really appreciate your time, Hervé. Thank you. Just a quick nod to next year. You mentioned Enea and Maverick. How are you going to have to change or adapt you to having two incredible characters with big experience in MotoGP that don't need the nurturing maybe so much, more as rounding?
I think, Pedro, if I would say something, outside of being a rookie, he's an incredible worker. He's almost like he has no state of mind, He's always the same almost here. Each single lap, each single corner, he's pushing 100%. He doesn't show too many emotions, He's like a machine, but this is positive, He's unbelievable. You don't have to push. And, on a track like maybe he's not as strong as some other track, he's still having the same attitude, pushing. So it's quite easy to handle him because he's putting pressure on himself and he's pushing himself all the time. Where I believe, and this is only, my way of seeing them because I never work with them, but I think Enea and Maverick, they are more artists. And an artist, they need all the planet aligned. They need to feel the support. And on a day where everything is going their way, they are unbeatable.
No question.
And I think the two of them, they have this. But some days where they don't have, this is why we go back to the up and down things. So my mission and what is exciting me is I want to give Enea and I want to give Maverick. I don't want to look pretentious, and this is not pretentious, but I would like to try to give each of them what they didn't get so far. Doesn't matter if it was a factory team, an independent team, to be more constant and to be closer to their dreams, because Enea is a potential world champion, but he never was in a position to win the championship. 2022, not far. Maverick is a super talent, but so for so many years, everybody say, wow, with that talent, he should be fighting for the title.
No question. Absolutely, he should.
There is something that they didn't have. And my mission, and this is what's exciting for me, is try me, but not me alone, me and my team, all of us, and try also to talk to the Pyramid Mobility guys. This is what Enea needs, because also the needs from Enea will not be exactly the same that the needs from Maverick. Try to give them what they need in order to be able to say, this was Enea's best season and this was Maverick's best season. So this is the challenge. I'm very excited about that. For sure, I have to respect them because they are both Grand Prix winners. They are both with a solid MotoGP experience. You need to respect. I won't be able to talk to them like I'm talking to Pedro. But you need to be chameleon. You know chameleon?
Yes, sure.
And I will have to change. I won't have a rookie anymore, but this is exciting.
And fuels the passion.
Feel the passion. And what makes life exciting and what makes life not too boring is that every single year is a new adventure. And this adventure is going to be for sure exciting. Also, there will be an incredible strong emulation inside the Pyramid Mobility because next year the 4 bikes will be same spec like it is this year already. Same evolution, yes. same development, and also same colors. So it will be really the 4 full factory riders. And we will try to kick factory guys' asses. And, you have a rider. When he is your rider, you want him to be. But once he leaves your team, you like him still. And I will always love Pedro. But the first one you want to beat is him. So, we will try to have Maverick and they are pushing Pedro. And it's going to be exciting. The whole team is really exciting.
It's something we're looking forward to see. One thing we want to wish you all the very best for this weekend at Silverstone and for the rest of the season. This weekend is
very important for me because, as I told you, I love UK. I love England. I'm going to finish with talking about Peter Gabriel. Listen to or read the lyrics of Genesis at that time. He was making up unbelievable stories. What I like in England is you have a lot of fantasy. You have a lot of, you dream, and for me, UK Grand Prix is always a very special Grand Prix. As I told you with the paddock opening on Thursday, I have the luck and the privilege to meet so many people. And they tell me many good things also. They like the interview with Susie because I'm always playing with Susie Perry a bit, this is the French, and I'm very French. To do something in Silverstone would be fantastic.
We wish you all the best for that. Hervé, thank you so much for the time. It's been a true privilege.
To Off Track.
Thank you.
I like your logo.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Hervé. Thank you so much.
Long life.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hervé Poncharal.
Your servant.